And the thing is, a lot of people are asking questions. So, what I want to do today, and I'm going to give you the proper method to get your trucking authority the first time around. No second time, no third trial. The first trial, you get it right. So, you want to stick around till the end of today's conversation. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you're all doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous. If you are to ask me, if you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I'm going to give you 10 steps to help you get your trucking authority quickly and the first time around. Whether you are a seasoned driver or a rookie, the steps I'm going to share with you will help you get on the road with your own operating authority. So please sharpen your pencils, stock up on black pens, and flex your tapping fingers. You are about to be faced with a mountain of paperwork. So today's show has two sections. Section number one, we have a preliminary planning that you have to take care of. And section number two, you have the 10 steps to getting your trucking authority. So the steps are, you need to register your business, get an EIN from the IRS, register with a US DOT. You want to apply for an MC number, file a BOC3, obtain insurance, get your apportion plates, and you need to set up an IFTA account, secure your UCR permit, and get specific permits. I'm going to actually go in detail, so don't worry, okay? Step number one, preliminary planning. I just want you to know that it takes approximately 5 to 7 weeks to complete this process from start to finish. So keeping organized is quintessential, folks. You want to make sure you have a calendar set up, whether it is a wall, desktop, or electronic calendar, to keep track of the deadlines and requirements for each permit or registration to ensure you don't miss any details. Very important. So once you have completed the process, all of your important paperwork must be consolidated into a binder so that you can keep it in your office or put in your truck for future reference. This is very important. Now, if you're not really strong when it comes to details, consider outsourcing this task. You can actually reach out to a permitting company, right? Those are companies that take care of all the process from A to Z for you. So this is pretty cool. And it is an exciting period, all right? Because if you want to make the switch to being your own boss, the first step you need to take is getting your trucking authority. It could be an intimidating process, but with the right approach, with the right information, you can actually get it done. And so what does it mean to have your own trucking authority? Having your own carrier authority means that you have the government's permission and blessing to get paid for hauling freight as your own trucking company. Operating authority is issued through the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, the FMCSA, in the form of an MC number, a motor carrier number. So there are different types of authority depending on what kind of cargo is being carried, and some carriers will need multiple authorities to cover multiple types of cargo. I'm going to actually go into details in today's show. And some states require intrastate authority if you are moving loads within a given state. So make sure you apply for the authority or authorities relevant to your business. So speaking of authorities, what are the benefits of having a trucking authority? So once you have been working as a trucker or owner operator for a while, it's kind of natural, right? It's kind of natural to want to move into a more, I would say, a more bossy role, right? You want to have your own authority. It's a huge career growth opportunity because it gives you complete independence and can come with a pretty significant bump in pay if you are running your business correctly. So there is a lot more work and responsibility involved, don't get me wrong, but it means you can hire your own drivers. And over time, you could have multiple trucks and drivers. Who knows? The sky is the limit. It also means that you will be responsible for finding and negotiating loads. And so you also, as you're thinking about getting your trucking authority, I want you to consider also enrolling in a drug and alcohol testing program. This will help you a lot. because all motor carriers are required by the FMCSA and the DOTS, the United States Department of Transportation, to have a negative drug test prior to hiring drivers or driving themselves. Okay? And so you want to learn more about the rules and regulations related to drug and alcohol testing. I want you to go to the FMCSA website. You have all the info there. So after you complete the 10 steps I will show you in today's show, you'll be enrolled in the new entrant safety assurance program. So this happens within the first 18 months of doing business. All right, so you'll have a mandatory new entrant audit to ensure you are compliant with federal regulations. That is very important. Do not take it lightly. Very important. Make sure you maintain driver qualifications files and employee records, driver logs, safety records, hours of service, the HOS records, accident reporting, maintenance records, all drug and alcohol testing program records and reports. Very important. If you want to find more about the new entrant safety assurance, the NESAP, the assurance program on the FMCSA website, you just go there. You have all the info there. One thing I want to say also is that you need to have at least 60 days of extra cash set aside to cover operating costs, things like repairs or fuel, etc. And if you've been an owner operator for a while, you know that it can really take somewhere from 30 to 60 days for an invoice to get paid. So be prepared by having operating cash on hand while you build up your business. And although there are a lot of steps involved, just take them one at a time. All right. Truckers and drivers make the switch to owner operator every single day. You're not the first one. You wouldn't be the last. And also consider enlisting help during the process. So I'm thinking about the setup process. You can get a lawyer, you can get a compliance specialist, a tax expert, an accountant, you name it. It's all about your budget. Consider also using a factoring company to speed up your cash flow. Many freight brokers will pay in, say, 30 to 45 days. Your expenses don't stop. So that's where freight factoring has been beneficial to so many trucking companies across the country. So you want to capitalize on the many benefits they offer, such as a fuel card, credit check-in, fuel advances, and much more. Okay, so this is very important because this will actually assist in eliminating the extra hours spent on your company maintenance. All right, so this first part was the preliminary planning that I just spoke to you about. Now let's just go into the second phase, the second part of today's show, the steps. So here are the 10 steps that you need to get your trucking authority. Step number 1, I want you to register your business. Very important. You need to register your business with the proper state or county officials, right? And you'll have to choose a business structure for your trucking business, and you have to plan for taxes. So if you want your business to be a LLC, limited liability company, or S corporation, or C corporation, or partnership, it's just better to choose everything else but remain a sole proprietorship. Many states will allow you to file your LLC or corporation online. Okay, if you're going to operate as a sole proprietorship with a DBA with the doing business as, you will need to determine if your state requires you to file your DBA at the county or state level. Okay, step number 2, you need to get an EIN from the IRS. EIN stands for Employer Identification Number. So if you are an LLC or a corporation, you absolutely must have an EIN number issued by the IRS. And this is great. Even if you are operating as a sole proprietorship, it's just better to obtain an EIN to protect your privacy, but also in terms of having a bank account, right? You want to separate your finances. You want to really separate your finances, your personal finances from your business finances. So in the absence of an EIN, remember, the sole proprietor must use their social security number, which can open them up to identity theft. Nobody wants that. Step number 3. So step number 1, register your business. Step number 2, you want to get an EIN from the IRS. Step number 3, you want to register with the US DOT, the United States Department of Transportation. All trucking companies must register with the US DOT. So you want to think of this as your company's ID or file number. Your US DOT number is what is issued to access, this is actually issued and used to access all of your company, vehicle, cargo, safety, and compliance information. It doesn't give you the authority to participate in interstate commerce though. So when you begin the registration process, there are some things that you need to know about your trucking company. So where will you be operating? How many trucks will you operate? What type of vehicle will you use? Will you haul hazardous materials? If so, what types? What is the weight of your vehicles? Will you be hauling exempt cargo? Will you be a freight forwarder or a broker? All of this information will be filed under your US dot number and will basically be available to any shippers you haul for. You will be issued a PIN number along with your US dot number, and your PIN will be needed for any changes you make with the US dot or FMCSA in the future. So your number will need to be renewed every 2 years. Very important. Every 2 years, every 24 months, or anytime any changes are made to your fleet size, name, phone number, address, or cargo type. So step number 4, you need to apply for a motor carrier number, your MC number. And you can get your MC number from the FMCSA website. And we're putting this on the screen right now. And your MC number is what will give you the authority to participate in interstate commerce. This is very important. And you will need all the info you gathered for the US dot registration to complete your application. And you'll be immediately given your MC number, but please do not start your truck just yet. Once your MC number is issued, you'll have to wait probably 20 days or 21 days to complete the next 2 steps. Once those two items are on file with the FMCSA, your authority will become active within approximately 2 to 3 weeks. This is why earlier I was talking to you about being patient for at least 2 months. It will take another 2 weeks or so for you to receive your authority certificate in the mail. You are not authorized to participate in interstate commerce until the MC number is active and your BOC3 and insurance is on record with the FMCSA. Okay, so to get your MC number, you have to go to the FMCSA website. And who does not need authority? There are some cases where some operators do not need authority. So carriers now required to have operating authority include private carriers, so carriers that transport their own cargo, and for hire carriers that exclusively haul exempt commodities, cargo that is not federally regulated, and carriers that operate exclusively within a federally designated commercial zone that is exempt from interstate authority rules. So a commercial zone is, for example, a geographic territory that includes multiple states bordering on a major metropolitan city, such as Virginia, Maryland, Washington, D.C. And the type of authority that we're talking about, the types of authority we are referring to there are various authorities here. And remember that your application fees will actually be dictated by the types of authorities that you are requesting. And I will show you right now on the screen the descriptions of the different types of interstate operating authority for which carriers will need to file the OP-1 form. So we have the motor carrier of property except household goods, the motor carrier of household goods, moving companies, the broker of property except household goods, the broker of household goods. You have the United States-based enterprise carrier of international cargo, except the household goods. You have the United States-based enterprise carrier of international household goods. And there are other authorities that I want to mention really quickly. So you have the freight forwarder authority, the motor passenger carrier authority, the non-North America domiciled motor carriers, the Mexico-based carriers for motor carrier authority to operate beyond U.S. municipalities and commercial zones on the U.S.-Mexico border. This includes actually, if you go to the FMCSA website, you have instructions and application in Spanish also. And then you have the Mexican certificate of registration for foreign motor carriers and foreign motor private carriers. Okay, so this is very important. Remember that the FMCSA does not refund application fee. They do not. I will be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Speaking of fees, I'm showing you right now on the screen the filing fees. So for a permanent authority, that will cost you $300. Notice of name change, that will cost you $14, and the reinstate authority, $80. So remember that separate fees must be submitted for each kind of authority sought. Please note that there are no refunds. I already said that. There are no refunds for mistaken applications. Okay, so again, to apply for authority, you need to go to the Unified Registration System. That's for first-time applicants, those who have never registered with FMCSA before and have not been issued a US dot number. So they need to register with the new unified registration system. This is the URS. We're showing this to you right now. And basically you can actually pay, if you want to pay if you need to pay the FMCSA via mail, we're showing the address on the screen. So you have to, you can mail actually the credit card payments and completed applications to Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. The address is in Washington, D.C. You can also send check via U.S. mail. So the first one was credit card via U.S. mail. Now, if you want to send a check via U.S. mail, you can actually send it to the P.O. Box 6233, and it's in Portland, Oregon. Remember though, folks, submitting payment by check through the mail may delay the processing of your form by 6 to 8 weeks due to mail times before and after the check is cashed by the bank. So the FMCSA does not recommend this method. And you can also try express mail. So applications and payments should be sent to the U.S. Bank Government Lockbox. Attention, FMCSA 6233. We're putting this on the screen. We're putting everything on the screen, folks. It is still in Portland, Oregon. And what I want to say is that the URS applications, new applicants only, may take 20 to 25 business days, unless they are subject to further review by the agency, in which case it could take an additional 8 weeks or longer. And if you want to check your application status, you have to go to the SAFER website. We're showing again the link to that website on the screen. SAFER is a subpart of the FMCSA website. So you go to the SAFER website, you see bold heading FMCSA searches, click on licensing and insurance. You want to enter your MC number or US dot number in the appropriate box, and you have to just click search and click HTML. And then you have to scroll down to you have to scroll to the bottom and click on authority history. So this page will display the granted date of the operating authority. Okay. And if you have questions, you can still contact the FMCSA directly. So call 800-832-5660 between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern for assistance, or you can just contact them via their web form. We're showing this to you right now, the form where you have to contact them to have more information. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. We are still having a conversation today about how to get your trucking authority. And step number 1, register your business. Step number 2, you need to get an EIN from the IRS. Step number 3, you need to register with the United States Department of Transportation. Step number 4, you need to apply for a motor carrier number, an MC number. Step number 5, you want to file a BOC, a BOC 3. BOC-3. And so we're showing this to you right now on the screen. What is exactly a BOC-3? The FMCSA requires that you have a designated process agent in each state that can be served legal paperwork on behalf of your company if the need arises. So no need to pull out the yellow pages and start searching state by state for a process agent though. There are so-called blanket companies that keep up to date list of process agents in state and will let you use their list for a one-time fee. So keep in mind that if you ever make any changes to your MC number, such as address, name, phone number, you will need to file a new BOC-3, or your MC number will be put on the inactive list 30 days later. So an agent must be designated for each state in or through which the carrier, broker, or freight forwarder operates. Very important. And each person, association, or corporation designated must reside in the state for which it is designated. Okay, so this is very important. A carrier, broker, or freight forwarder may designate himself or herself for the state in which he or she resides, and state officials may be designated only if such officials' agreement to do so is furnished with the designation. What I'm trying to say here is that there are strict rules around BOC-3, so you want to read more about the FMCSA instructions. And please note, a post office box is not acceptable. Okay, it's not acceptable as an agent's address. So where to file? We're going to put on the screen where to file the application. It's in Washington D.C., 1200 New Jersey Avenue. So we'll put in the address on the screen. And one signed copy should be filed with each state in or through which the operation is conducted, and one copy should be retained by the carrier, broker, or freight forwarder. Very important. Okay, And step number 6, you need to obtain insurance. So as a carrier, you are required to obtain liability and cargo insurance. The FMCSA requires a carrier to have $750,000 primary liability and $100,000 in cargo. It is recommended that you obtain a $1 million liability policy. Additional coverage is needed if you are hauling hazardous materials. Okay, so your insurance provider must report your coverages to the FMCSA in order for your authority to go active. And as with the BOC3 filing, if you make any changes to your MC number information, you must also report that to your insurance company and have them resubmit their information to the FMCSA, or you risk having your authority go inactive, and you don't want that. Speaking of insurance, and we're talking about trucking insurance, we have done extensive research, and we are bringing to you right now the top 5 commercial truck insurance providers based on our research, and you might want to consider them. If you have another trucking insurance that you want to go with, that's fine. For us, it's just those are the best right now. So we have Progressive, and this is the best overall. The pros and cons: this is the top commercial vehicle insurer in the United States, available in all 50 states. They offer free state and federal insurance filings. They have a variety of discounts, and they cover a wide range of truck types. Okay, so you might want to give them a try. And in terms of cons, they have a history of consumer complaints. You will need to work with an agent, and they have allowable fleet size is limited, and travel radius may apply. Then we have Century. And Century is great for single trucks. And the pros and cons: they have flexible coverage options. They are available in all 50 states. They specialize in coverage for owner-operators and personal use liability. The cons: limited online information. Then you need to talk to, or you need to work with a local agent, and they are a smaller company. And then you have the Hartford. And the Hartford is great for fleets. So with special programs and discounts tailored to multi-vehicle businesses, the Hartford is an easy choice for the best commercial truck insurance for fleets. And what are the pros here? You have they have fleet-specific programs, devices, and discounts. They are available in all 50 states, many complimentary coverages, and they have special risk engineering services for fleets. And on the drawback, you have no online quotes and limited options for single vehicle customers. And then we have Cover Wallet. This is the best value in our analysis here. And the pros: you have instant online quotes available. You can buy a policy online within minutes. Many coverage options for a wide range of trucks, and coverage is available for bad credit, bad driving record. And the cons: this is an aggregator platform, not an individual carrier, and pricing may take longer in some cases. And then you have, last but not the least, you have State Farm. So State Farm is also great. They have great customer service and high consumer satisfaction ratings, coverage for individual or fleet vehicles, available in all 50 states. The cons: you have limited information online, no online quotes, and need to work with an agent. So we're showing you right now on the screen a comparative table of all those 5 insurance companies. We're going to leave this on the screen for a while for you to read it. So we have Progressive, Century, the Hartford, Cover Wallet, and State Farm. So we're showing you the insurance company, what you should pick, you should select it for, and the key benefits. We're gonna leave this on the screen for a little bit more. All right, step number 7. You want to get your apportion plates and set up your IRP. Very important. You need to get your apportion plates and set up your international registration plan. Now, IRP is a very, very important process. It is a process of registering fleets or vehicles traveling into a more member jurisdictions. And if you are operating a truck, say, in multiple jurisdictions, you must annually report mileage driven in each state and pay taxes on the mileage driven. And for this registration, you will need all the nitty-gritty details about your trucks, including the VIN, the title information, the purchase cost and date, as well as the make, model, etc., etc. And you'll need to have an idea of what states you are planning to haul in. If your truck has already been on the road, you can report the mileage from the previous years. It's okay. The authorities understand that. And if not, you can use the averages provided by the state. And your registration fee will be determined by which states you are hauling in and how many miles you drive in each state. And once you submit the registration, the DMV will let you know the fee. And once you pay the fee, you will be given your apportion tax. And that's very important. So the IRP process varies by state. So for illustration purposes, here is the New York State's IRP application form. We're showing this to you right now on the screen, along with the link, so you can just maybe go and read more about it. Step number 8, you need to set up an IFTA account. So the International Fuel Tax Agreement, IFTA, is actually an agreement among the lower 48 states of the United States and the Canadian provinces, simplifying the reporting of fuel used by motor carriers that operate in more than one jurisdiction. So there are some circumstances in our research, we've seen that there are some circumstances that will require extra permits. Kentucky, New Mexico, and New York, for example, require weight distance permit to operate, and Oregon requires a permit and a bond. So you'll need the standard carrier alpha code, the SCAC, if you are moving military, government, international, or intermodal loads. And carriers with IFTA receive an IFTA license and 2 decals that will help you to make sure that your vehicle is operating properly. At the end of the fiscal quarter, you are required to complete your fuel tax report, listing all miles traveled in all participating jurisdictions and fuel purchases. This is very important. So the IFTA form is kind of similar to the IRP form in that you must list the states you plan to haul in and the estimated mileage. So the IFTA account setup process varies by state. And for illustration purposes, on the screen right now, we have the link to the New York State's IFTA account setup process. Step number 9, folks. Step number 9, I want you to secure your UCR permit. This is very important. What is UCR? So you need to use your US DOT and MC number to apply for the Unified Carrier Registration System, the UCR system. UCR verifies the active insurance coverage in the states you operate in. And apply for your permit and learn more about the UCR system. We're putting on the screen right now the link to the UCR, and UCR is actually a government website, so this is important. So the UCR program requires individuals and companies operating commercial motor vehicles in interstate or international commerce to actually register their business within their base states and pay an annual fee based on the size of their fleet. So this includes any commercial motor vehicle carrier carrying their own goods and products across state lines. It also includes carriers transporting interstate goods even if the vehicles do not leave the state. So this is a registration that will need to be renewed every year. Don't forget that. So you want to mark it definitely on your calendar. You want to have automatic reminders. And number 10, I want you to get specific permits. So if you plan to haul in any of the states that we're going to talk about very soon, you may need to obtain permits if you meet the state's criteria. So we have Kentucky, so you need to have a KYU number. So you are required to obtain a Kentucky weight distance number if your truck, trailer, and load weight is over 59,999 pounds traveling in Kentucky. So quarterly reports are required to the state of Kentucky. So we're showing you the link to the platform where you can have more info. And you also have the New York HUT, the New York HOT, and all vehicles with the registered GVW of 18,001 pounds or more and traveling within New York State are required to obtain and carry a New York Highway Use Tax or HUT permit. The quarterly taxes you must file with the state is based on miles traveled and weight of the vehicle traveling in New York. And then you also have the New Mexico weight distance. So carriers that are 26,001 pounds or more and traveling the highways of New Mexico must obtain the New Mexico weight distance tax permit. And the quarterly taxes are based on miles traveled in New Mexico and weight of the vehicle. And last but not the least, we have the Oregon weight and distance permits. So Oregon charges a $2,000 cash deposit on security bond to register, and the cash or bond will be returned if the carrier stays compliant for the initial 24 months. And after registering, the carrier is required to file monthly mileage reports, and there is an option to purchase a temporary permit without paying the $2,000 security bond. Many carriers do not operate in Oregon on a regular basis choose to go this route. So it really depends on what works for you, all right? All right, folks, this is all you need to know when it comes to getting your trucking authority. And I'm going to quickly recap today's conversation. So I was speaking to you about the preliminary planning, the things you need to do first before even start thinking about your trucking authority. And then in the second section, I spoke to you about the 10 steps you need to follow to get your trucking authority. Number 1, register your business. Number 2, you want to get an EIN from the IRS. Number 3, you want to register with the United States Department of Transportation. Number 4, you want to apply for a motor carrier number, an MC number. Number 5, you need to file a BOC3, a BOC 3. Number 6, you need to obtain insurance, very critical. Number 7, you need to get your apportioned plates and you need to set up your IRP. Number 8, you need to set up an IFTA account. Number 9, you want to secure your UCR permit. And number 10, last but not the least, you need to get specific permits. Very important. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.